Whether you make it from scratch or dump it out of a can, you won't believe all the creative ways there are to spice up your boring corned beef and hash. If corned beef hash makes you think about feeding your beloved pet, we bet you've only had hash that comes out of a can. Don't get us wrong, canned hash makes for a quick, easy meal and is useful for camping trips and in case of power failures. A genuinely exceptional hash, however, is usually made from scratch. Making corned beef yourself allows you to customize the spices and reduce the meat's saltiness by rinsing it after brining. Whether you make corned beef for another meal and use the leftovers for hash, or want a whole lot of hash, you're in for a treat. You can freeze hash too, giving you healthful, homemade convenience food without a can opener. Making corned beef hash is as simple as cubing the meat with potatoes, onions, and any veggies you like, then frying it up to a crisp, golden goodness. Whether you want it with eggs, a side salad, Irish soda bread, or just all by itself, the corned beef hash you've made yourself is an entirely different experience from hash in a can. Canned corned beef hash has plenty of fat, calories, and sodium, and some find the texture less than desirable, but there's no denying the convenience of opening a can. However, you can get reduced sodium varieties, as everyone should watch their sodium intake, since processed foods account for an estimated 75% of salt consumed in our daily diets. Making hash at home is potentially healthier. Yet, one can of hash doesn't go far if you're trying to feed a family. By spending a few minutes chopping an onion and a few potatoes, you can get the best of both worlds. Fresh ingredients added to canned hash yields more food while also helping cut down on fat and sodium. This semi-homemade hash will be heartier and more flavorful, making it perfect for any meal. Chop the potatoes into small chunks and fry them in a skillet until they turn golden brown. Once they're browned, pour a small amount of water over them and cover the skillet. The water steams the potatoes as it evaporates. Add the onions and cook till translucent before adding the canned hash, spreading it over the bottom of the pan. Once everything crisps up, you'll have the perfect pan of corned beef hash without the effort of making it from scratch. Potatoes might be more critical to hash than the titular corned beef, but it's important to consider the many types of potatoes that could elevate your hash. Everyone knows potatoes are starchy, but the ratio of starch to water in a particular variety of potato is key. Waxy potatoes have more water and less starch, and are suitable for frying because they don't break up in the pan. Starchy potatoes make great mashed potatoes because they have a fluffier texture. All-purpose potatoes have a balanced ratio of water to starch. A selective cook might choose a specific variety to achieve unparalleled results. Yukon Gold potatoes are ideal for corned beef hash because they fry without breaking down and have a rich, buttery flavor. Red potatoes are also perfect for corned beef hash. Their waxier texture will fry up crisp and golden without falling apart. Both varieties have thin skin that doesn't need to be peeled, which makes for faster preparation and adds nutrients to the dish.
Veggies are your pals! Veggies are your pals! Hi, all the day!
We all know that vegetables are good for us, as they give us vital nutrients, fiber, and disease protection. A simple way to eat more produce is to include at least one serving of fruits and vegetables. A cup of leafy greens or a half cup of other vegetables doesn't look like much on your plate, but it can be incorporated into almost any meal for a serious impact. When it comes to making corned beef hash, adding veggies is terrific for your health and makes your dish tastier and more colorful. Need inspiration? Red flannel hash, so named for its color, contains beets and is said to be named for the red and black checked flannel shirts worn by lumberjacks.
Yes! A lumberjack! Leaping from tree to tree as they float down the mighty rivers of British Columbia.
Hash is also delicious when it's made with spinach, collards, or kale, which provide plenty of nutrients. Many folks eat fried eggs with hash. Whether you like them sunny side up or over easy, fried in olive oil or lard, fried eggs define breakfast for many diners who have served corned beef hash with fried eggs for decades. However, poached eggs are the way to go if you want a rich, creamy egg to top your hash. Poached eggs are simmered gently and stay soft and delicate, with gorgeous runny yolks as a sauce for the crispy hash. The contrasting mouthfeel between the tender poached egg and the crunch of the hash elevates your breakfast far past rubbery fried eggs. So, how do you poach eggs?
Yeah, how?
Well, adding salt or vinegar to the poaching water is one method, though it can sometimes make your eggs taste funny if you overdo it. You might poach eggs in wine or broth, or keep the eggs in shape by stirring simmering water into a vortex. Anyone that regularly orders corned beef hash at a diner or opens a can is used to hash that tastes salty from the corned beef, possibly with some black pepper sprinkled on top. But why not take your breakfast to the next level by adding other spices to your hash? Not only do herbs and spices enhance flavor, but they also provide antioxidants and other health benefits. You can keep it simple and add garlic, onion powder, and paprika, which will lift the flavor in a crowd-pleasing way. Or add some heat with cayenne pepper, crushed red pepper, or chilies. For a bright herbal flavor, you can't go wrong with fresh chives, parsley, and some lemon zest sprinkled on top before serving. Fresh rosemary and marjoram add savory flavor too. Whichever herbs or spices you choose will take corned beef hash from everyday to the extraordinary and will make you dream up new ways to include hash in all your meal plans. Butter is often vilified because animal fats are less healthy than vegetable fats. The standard advice is to use heart-healthy oils like olive or canola, and we agree that this is sound advice. However, remember that butter isn't the enemy so long as it's used in moderation. Frying with butter makes a big difference in flavor and crispiness. Potatoes cooked this way are golden perfection. Plus, using butter to fry corned beef hash will give you an excellent crust on those spuds. That said, butter has a lower smoke point than oil, so keep a few tips in mind. Chef Andrew Zimmern advises using medium heat and waiting till the large bubbles disappear before you add food to the pan. Those bubbles are water evaporating out of the butter, so when the butter is foamy, it's less waterlogged and the food will fry properly. You can also combine butter with oil so you can achieve a buttery flavor without so much worry over scorching the milk solids. You can also use clarified butter or ghee, which don't have those milk solids and will behave like oil. No matter which way you fry with butter, your corned beef hash will be delectable. Have you ever heard of a full English breakfast? It's a massive meal with eggs, bacon, toast, sausages, and baked beans. The Brits love beans on anything at any time of day, and baked beans spooned on top of corned beef hash is no exception. Even if you have no interest in emulating the eating habits of those across the pond, beans are great for your health and are another way to boost the nutritional profile of corned beef hash. Beans are full of fiber, protein, vitamins, and minerals, but are low in fat. They're filling and a good source of iron and folate, too. If saucy baked beans with your hash don't sound appealing, substitute any bean you like. Plain beans add fewer calories to the dish. Add the beans to the hash when it is almost finished cooking to minimize the possibility of smashing them. While sweet potatoes tend to be high or low on many people's lists, there's no doubt that they offer a different taste, texture, and nutrition profile than the humble all-purpose potato. This isn't to say that regular potatoes aren't healthy, as they certainly can be, but when it comes to taste, in the case of practically every potato, preparation is what matters most. Both sweet and regular potatoes have fiber, calcium, and vitamin C. Although standard sweet potatoes clobber white sweet potatoes when it comes to vitamin A content, white sweet potatoes provide more protein and potassium along with less sugar. Your preference for white or sweet potatoes may vary based on taste or dietary concerns, but we think sweet potato hash is a treat. If the creamy texture of cooked sweet potatoes puts you off using them in a corned beef hash, look for white sweet potatoes, often used for sweet potato fries. They have a firmer texture than typical sweet potatoes. Add heat to sweet potato corned beef hash for a sweet spicy combo everyone will love, or play up that sweetness by adding cinnamon and allspice to the mix with a bit of maple syrup before serving. There's a reason cheese is the star ingredient in so many comfort foods. It's absolutely fabulous.
I'm actually quite partial to a bit of cheese.
I love cheese!
Whether you love grilled cheese sandwiches with soup, a bubbly crock of mac and cheese, or a charcuterie board served in front of a fireplace, cheese is life for many of us. With so many vegan cheese substitutes on the market, too, it's clear that everyone can enjoy cheesy goodness whenever the mood strikes. Hash is no exception. If you thought salt, fat content, or heavenly meltability was why most of us constantly crave cheese, well, that's part of it. Cheese also has amino acids that trigger a dopamine response and evoke feelings similar to being in love, even mimicking drug-induced euphoria. Don't raise the alarm, though. Cheese consumption is not harmful so long as it's in moderation.
Have you been up all night eating cheese?
I think I'm blind.
Cheese melted over hash could be called extravagant, but trust us, you'll love it. Use any cheese that you have on hand or one that complements the spices or vegetables in the hash. Whether you love goat cheese, mozzarella, or cheddar, the gooey goodness of your corned beef hash will skyrocket when you add a bit of dairy to the mix. When it comes to hash, we know that corned beef contains plenty of salt, but you can solve that problem. If your hash or meat is canned, choose a low-sodium variety. If you're using commercially prepared corned beef, rinse the meat and soak it in cold water for several hours before making hash. Better yet, buy brisket and brine the meat yourself. This does take planning since the meat should brine for 5 days. Yet it's simple to do, and if you rinse the meat before making hash, you'll find it less salty than canned or supermarket corned beef. Seasoning as you go is the proper way to ensure a balanced salt profile. Tasting the hash for saltiness at different stages ensures the finished product is just right. Adding a bit of salt at the start of cooking allows it to permeate the food, while adding it at the end allows the flavor to be more prominent. Adding salt in layers gives a dish the most flavor without allowing it to overpower the dish. Try experimenting with different varieties of salt for a next-level corned beef hash, like smoked salt, lava salt, flavored blends, or larger grain salts. Just a tiny pinch of a specialty variety could make a big difference.